A horse is a horse, of course, and no one can talk to a horse, of course. That is, of course, unless the horse is the...
Hey everyone, this is Josh from Before, and I'm here with McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse, The Dark Knight Returns Build a Horse. Oh, I've been waiting so long to put this together. I was on the way to getting it all assembled, and then the Endless Winter and the Future State stuff hit, and I wanted to get that out for you. So I've been waiting for it. I know you guys have been waiting for it. I don't think it's worth stalling much longer. I think we should just put this together, right? Here are the big torso pieces that came with Carrie Kelly. So it looks like you want to, so these are going to clip into here, right? So we'll start it like so, and then I think just slide. Okay. And now we've got a horse torso, a horso. I think we're probably going to want to put the saddle on first. Love the details on the saddle. Obviously a bat logo right there. Looks great. So, I mean, if we've been paying attention, we know Todd has been building out like sort of a medieval fantasy universe, you know, with his Witcher toys, with Princess Bride. We know we're going to get medieval Spawn in the future. We got Gunslinger Spawn. The horse, I think we're going to get a lot of mileage out of the horse. As far as being the most logical thing to include with The Dark Knight Returns, maybe not. But when you take into account Todd's medieval fantasy kick, I think it makes more sense. Back legs. Make sure that tail gets all the way in there. Front legs are marked. Be sure to pay attention to which one you're putting in where. All right. Now we've got a very big horse. Really big. Impressed with the size right away. As far as the feel in hand, it feels pretty sturdy, and he's got some heft. But, you know, the plastic doesn't exactly feel like the highest grade stuff in the world, you know, especially compared to the figures themselves. So before I start getting in too much to see what he can do, I think it's pretty evident that the front, the back legs, the head, it all only moves forward and back. So if we want to see it in action, the head can look down if you want to have him grazing. All right, so we got neck movement up and down. Obviously, you can hear that ratchety sound. You get a little bit of movement out of there, especially when you free up the mane from running into itself there. Once you get that out of the way, he's got a little bit more movement. Front legs are going to go like that. Rotation here. Sculpted ball joint there, right above the feet. No horsey shoes sculpted under there. These more sculpted ball joints back there. Looks very nice. Ball joint at the tail. Get a look at some of the detail there up in the bridle. I accidentally popped this off of here. I think it's meant to be. I can't tell if it's meant to be glued more firmly or not. I think it's just meant to be able to be popped out. So if they do give us more horsies in the future, you may be able to mix and match with the bridle there. This is it feels very nice. Feels very thick and weighty. No horseshoes, but really what the most surprising thing is that there's no peg holes in here at all. You would think something balancing on four skinny legs, you would want to give it some as much as possible to kind of keep them standing up. And I mean, I know how I feel about that, but I think really we need to ask the horse himself. Mr. Horse, what do you think about the fact that they didn't give you holes for the stands?
No, sir, I didn't like it.
Let's start out with putting Dark Knight Returns Batman on here, and then we'll cycle out. We'll swap a bunch of different figures on here and see how they fit. All right, I predicted this in my Batman video, and I think I've been proven right. This Batman did not need these thigh cuts to fit on this horse. As you can see, they're lined up. The thighs are. Both feet are in the saddles. He's hugging the seat fairly well. He could probably be hugging it a little bit better and still not need to have thigh cuts because they bend so well from the hips. Spin him around here. Really impressive size. And for the value, you know, you're paying an extra $20 if you are getting this whole Dark Knight Returns wave and you're getting this whole horse. The solo releases of the horse are going to be $40. There's a Witcher one coming out. It's $40. I don't have any like Mythic Legions or is it Mythic Legions to compare it to. Those definitely cost more, you know. So you're getting a step between this and Mythic Legions, and it's a pretty good value. All right, I know we've all been waiting to see how Gunslinger Spawn fits on there pretty well, and I would imagine later releases of this horse will have like a saddle where the stirrups sort of match a better match for like the length of the legs of different figures, because this guy was really short and stocky. But still, I managed to get him in there. I was able to even use the spikes on his shoes to kind of hold his feet in those soft rubbery stirrups, which helped because his jacket's so thick and it wants to push him forward. You can get him on there. It's kind of a stretch. I would imagine if they want to give us a Gunslinger horse in the future, I would imagine they will. They'll probably give us another Gunslinger that has thigh cuts or something, or can better sit because his legs are a little stiff up there at the hips. And now rear and back here with Angela riding on top. She maybe feels a little bit small as a 6-inch scale figure, but still works pretty well, I think. And then you can see that the tail here is what's holding the weight of this back when the horse is reared back like this. All right, now for a bucking bronc situation with the Todd designed Wonder Woman. I've got a flight stand holding it up here. You can see how when you flip that tail the other direction, it can give it a sense of motion. Pretty badass. I could probably get her on there a little tighter. I just kind of threw her on there. What's going to really be tricky is if you're trying to get her in like a running pose. If you look at like a horse run cycle, just Google image search, you know, running horses. You can see usually there's just kind of one point of contact. One foot is hitting the ground. In the most sort of dynamic points of the run cycle. And so I've got a flight stand up here holding it up from the front. It's certainly not the best looking solution, and I am sure that you could come up with something better, but it might be something that takes 2 flight stands, like from both sides. Let's try that. And even a situation like this where it's not even touching the ground completely, I couldn't get it quite making contact there, and it's using 2 flight stands, and then the flight stands are not exactly what you'd want to be working with cosmetically. So it's going to be tricky to do, and there's going to be some issues where just like the horse's head isn't going to point straight, and you know, sometimes that is selling some of that sense of movement, is the way the head of the horse is pointing. So it'll be tricky to get every single, you know, you're not going to be able to get every single potential horse pose in the history of the world, but there's definitely some versatility to be had. All right, let's throw Rebirth Batman on top. We'll look at Dark Detective on the drifter bike next to him, and the Frost King from Endless Winter on there. This might be one of the coolest riders yet. Azrael in his Knights Templar look. And we got Swamp Thing and Bane up here next to him. Azrael's got some real potential up there, if you ask me. And then it's not a white horse, but this is the group that gets away at the end of The Princess Bride, and they all look great with this horse. And, you know, even if you necessarily weren't into this movie and you just wanted to kind of have Andre the Giant versus a horse, here's your chance. So as far as mega figs or build-a-figs go, this one isn't the biggest. It's not the best looking. It's not the most articulated. And it's not a character you've been waiting for, but it's got to be one of the most versatile Build-A-Figs they've done to date. Odds are you probably have somebody in your collection that is going to look really cool riding this, and I mean, that's pretty much all there is to it. Having spent a little bit of time playing with it, there is some like looseness in some of these joints. Some are too loose, some are too tight. It's, you know, it is what it is. Something to be aware of. But the overall impact of having a horse in your collection and on your shelf with somebody riding it, and he's just so big and impressive. I think whether or not you need him, I hope you know by now. I'm happy to have him. Happy to pick up one or two more, especially if they can throw some variety in like the mane and the saddle, even the color of the horse. That'd be great. But until then, I'm going to be working on a way to get him in like a cool running pose on some flight stands without looking like a total joke. Thank you to everyone who has joined me on this horse building journey. I'll see you all very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.